What's happening, guys? Piston Magnolia here. I was standing at the bus stop here in Beverly Hills near the library and wanted to talk about a little thing about a project I worked on where a contractor made a field decision based on budget and ended up potentially costing over $70,000 or more in roofing, removing a roof, and all kinds of other stuff. Anyway, a major beam, or two roofs were coming in. The beam got removed from the installation. It just ended up being a knee wall, a studded knee wall with plywood on both sides, and ended up being from a beam with 3 to 4 different point loads distributed down through the foundation. It originally designed by the architect in Vermont, and then ultimately this beam ended up being a distributed load, which ended up deflecting the whole roof across the huge entire luxury living room on Nantucket Island. And then ultimately what happened was the connections at the chimney and distributing that load down into the major footings in the center of the building. Both roofs were coming in. The connections had to be redesigned and all the loads redistributed and the beam reinstalled, basically figuring out how to reinstall, get that beam absolutely installed, or alternatively redesigning the whole roof and ripping apart the whole entire building. The whole stairway was 2 inches out of level and 4 feet, and all kinds of other things that were weird. At the final, trying to close out the project, and everything was out of level, things were out of plumb, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. So we ended up going in and saying, okay, well, verification of the architect's intent and design intent ended up being that there were too many field decisions that ended up potentially costing more than $70,000 in rework, ripping off the roof, ripping apart walls in the entire house. This is basically at the point where the furniture is being moved in, and the owner walks in basically probably about 3 days to a week before they have to move in for the summer, and they're absolutely infuriated. It turns out to be a law firm, and they want to know, why is this building such a mess? Why is everything's supposed to be brand new? Everything was done from scratch. Why are there so many problems? Turns out it was just a small framing crew making poor decisions without any oversight from any engineers. It's just a remote architect, and ultimately we get called in as consultants at the last minute to fix a lot of mistakes and redesign how everything got installed, was supposed to be installed, actually ends up getting installed. So short story, how poor decisions, poor management, great original design intent, great ideas, but at the end of the day, if the execution and the management isn't there and you're hiring budget contractors, you're not going to be happy. Have a killer day, guys. Much love and respect. Cheers.